All right, I want to go over an exciting new platform we've been using here in my office called Investorbase. So this is strictly for buyer data. It's a buyer data software that kind of acts as a CRM too. So this is going to be a review on a new platform that we've been using now for a few months, maybe 3 months, and we found a lot of success with it. This has been by far the easiest platform to use when pulling data, and it also skip traces. It also keeps track of your buyers. It has an internal buyers list, very easy to use, and it has a listings page too. It's very interesting. You can actually create a listing on the website and just share that link. Now, this is unlike a lot of the other platforms I've reviewed and a lot of the other softwares I've reviewed where, Investorbase, these guys really just are making the best platform for buyer data. So it's not going to be a platform that you can text and email out of right now. I don't know if they have plans for that. It's not a full-on CRM. It just kind of gets your stuff organized, but they really just want to make the best software for, investor buyer data. And I believe they're well on their way right now in doing that. You'll see later I make some calls on Friday afternoon, late in Ohio, which is literally the worst time to call investors. But, that was the time I had calls and got a hold of 3 or 4 buyers out of 23 and had some good conversations, and ended up, one of the guys I got in touch with ended up doing a drive-by on the property that day, texted me and put an offer in on the property. We didn't take it. It was a little low, but, out of three people I talked to, 3 or 4, one of them put an offer in. They were brief conversations. It was, late Friday afternoon, so I didn't think I was going to get a ton of traction calling through it, being so late on a Friday, but definitely had good conversation, a good hit rate on the phone numbers and the skip tracing, and it's just a platform we've moved a lot of deals in the last few months, so I wanted to share it with you guys. If you like what you see, I'll leave the link below for a free trial for Investorbase. A lot of people in my community are using it, finding a ton of success as well. So this is a platform who, they reached out to me for probably a year wanting me to try it out. And, as a fault of myself, I, didn't try it out for a long time. We use a lot of different softwares and everything was going smooth. And I get a lot of people that reach out to me for trying to use their software. But, after the 5th time they reached out in a year, I finally said, yeah, let me do a demo. And I'm so glad I did because we have found a lot of success. It's been a big part of our process now and in the future moving forward. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and definitely click the link in the description for a free trial because this is a very, very powerful platform where you can move a lot of deals very, very efficiently. This is the front page. You can enter an address here and it gives you this nice map of the US. Let me go over in detail what each of these little drop downs are. First of all, you're going to put your address here. That's pretty self-explanatory. The platform defaults to give you a 2-mile search radius and 2-year search period. Okay. Now, depending on where you're at, that's definitely enough, maybe too much to just start dialing. But that's the default. So that's kind of what we use. If you're in an area that is super dense with investors, if you do 1 mile, 1 year, that might be enough. But in general, 2 miles, 2 years should be plenty of data for you. Now, you can adjust that to 5 years, a year, 6 months, 3 months. You can adjust it from 1 to 10 miles. We're just going to keep it as the default on this one. Another thing that is really cool is you can either find your flippers, landlords, or both. So just like, Propstream and Investorlift, these are all pretty general settings on there. What I like about Investorbase is your flipper data and landlord data is it's not really a public platform where people can go on there and add themselves as buyers, and it's not so black and white either, where it's just showing just cash buys and just investors that are lined up as investors because they're cash buyers. Like this will actually pull flippers and landlords, and then they use AI to figure out, are these really flippers? Are they really landlords? So you get a lot less false positives in this data because they're actually using AI to scrub and make sure that these flippers, if they're buying in LLCs, are they attached to any other ones? How many deals are they doing? Was this property really flipped? Do they own multiple properties, like the landlord data? They're looking into stuff like that. So it might not just be your cash buyers in this data. It could be buyers using other types of lending, but the back end of this platform checks and says, hey, they might not be buying cash every single time, or even on this property where we found them, but they own a shit ton of properties and they might be using a lender, but that's okay because they're still an investor. So really cool on the buyer type. Now, we'll usually leave it open to flippers and landlords unless we're in a very specific area that's just going to be flippers or just going to be landlords for our deal, depending on our deal structure. A lot of our deals, because we're in the right price range and the right market, we can sell our deal to flippers or landlords. In this case, we're looking at a deal outside of Cleveland, and it's a duplex, and it's going to go to a landlord. So you'll see on the calls, I'm just calling landlords. I didn't even call the flippers, which is a whole other data set that we could call. So we're just going to leave it as both right now and see what comes up. And then property types, you can do single family, multifamily, condos and townhouses, mobile homes, or land. So it's going to go in the back end of the public data, make sure, hey, are these buyers buying land? Are they buying mobile homes, condos, multifamily, or single family? And it's just going to show you the ones that actually pertain to whatever property type you have if you want to filter that. I'll leave that open for now, but just so you know, you can definitely make this really granular. In the more section, we do exclude non-arm length transactions. When you include those, you'll get a lot of family transfers and stuff like that. So, Investorbase usually gives us enough data. We definitely don't have to go searching that deep because you're going to get some false positives in that non-arm length transaction. So we leave that excluded. Results without phones, we include, we still want to see who the buyers are because we can cross-reference those deals, even if it can't skip trace the buyer, the LLC that's involved in the transaction. It'll show the Zillow link and the address. You can just cross-reference with Zillow and at least get a hold of the agent, the listing agent if it was a flip, or the buyer's agent if it was a cash buy on the MLS. So we leave that included, the results without phones. And then institutional investors we include as well because we have a lot of relationships with hedge funds, and we want to know quickly, hey, are the funds that we have a relationship with buying in this area? If they are, cool, I'm going to reach out to them. Even though those are really hard to skip trace, we already got relationships with them, so we leave that on as well. Purchase price, you can adjust that if you'd like, and we leave it pretty wide open. And then there's this really important tab right here, skip trace and save results. So you can leave this off to speed up searches if you don't need their contact info, but for our purposes, we definitely want that because we're going to call through this list. So I'm going to put the address of the property I called on right up here. And if we leave this just as a default, let's see what comes up. So let's search, and this is going to give us a pop-up, and now it's going to just zoom right in on this map right here. And you can look at it as a cartoon. You could look at it as a satellite view, which I like. The red dot here is our property. And then what's cool is it shows on the map all these landlord buy and holds in green with a little key, and all the fix and flip are blue with a little wrench and hammer. So you know how many people are landlords here buying rentals and how many are fix and flip investors. And we got a really good mix in this area. This is like a really nice area considering it's in Cleveland, Ohio. A lot of those can be real bad, but this area in particular is actually really good. So you get a lot of flippers here too. So shows on a map. And then as you're looking over here in this list, it's going to show front to back the investor that's most likely to buy your deal. They use this smart match where, AI is working to see, hey, is this property, like how identical is it to this one that this investor bought? So that works really, really well when it comes to calling through this data. So, when you work these numbers, definitely work them top to bottom, because these are going to be your best buyers up top. Now, this is going to tell you everything you need to know. This guy's a landlord. He owns multiple rentals, and he has acquired a new one within our area. Number of times this landlord appeared in our results right here. So this guy is going to show up twice in this list. And then Smart Match, obviously, how likely is this buyer to buy our deal? It shows us the address of the deal. It gives us the buyer's name and his phone number. And when you click on him, it shows us how many linked properties he's got, of what value, what he purchased this house for under his LLC. It gives us his phone numbers, which we can mark valid, invalid, unknown. If you want, you can put notes in here for this buyer, and this is all saved for you on your platform. It gives us a email address as well for this buyer. You can click on a Zillow link here, and it's going to pull up Zillow. So then you can cross-reference and see, is there any photos on there, or did he use an agent, anything like that. You can pull that information. It gives us bed and bath, square footage. And then what's really cool is if you like this buyer and you've gotten in touch with them, you can put on here if he was interested, if it's a new buyer, if he scheduled an inspection, completed one, if he put an offer in, if he's not interested, or if it just isn't the right information. And then you can put how many times you've actually gotten in touch with this investor too. So that's how this acts as a CRM kind of, right? You can keep track of stuff. And you can also just add this guy to your buyers list with a click of a button, and that'll hold them in your buyers list here, which I'll show you guys later. But very cool platform because it's so easy to use. I mean, with a click of a button, we have 60 results, right? And most of these results are going to have phone number. I would say 80 to 90% is usually what we see for phone numbers. And you got this list you can literally call off of straight from Investorbase. And you can add buyers. You can keep track of how many times you've called them, if they're interested or not. But if you really wanted to, you could just come down here and hit the download tab, and it'll download this whole list for you. You can upload it into another platform to text message or call or email, your own CRM. And all that is included with, however much Investorbase costs, which I think is under $200 a month. So, really, really easy to use. And at the very least, I got a link in the description where it gets you a free trial. I mean, try this thing out because it works really, really well. You can sort these by a smart match. If you go to investor comps here, it will give you kind of a breakdown of the best comps, who that investor was, what they bought it for. Gives you a lot of good information here. You can, mess with the criteria if you want. Estimated price an investor is going to pay about $106 a square foot. So a really cool feature here when you just need a quick comp. Say you're on the phone on acquisition side and you're trying to comp your deal and you're having trouble, you feel rushed, shoot, come over to here, look at your investor comps and see what's the average investors are paying for your deal. And at least you got a realistic number if you're having trouble. The next thing we'll look at is the buyers list here. So as you talk to your buyers, you can actually put them here in your buyers list. You can sort them by the locations, the property types, and the buyer type. Is it a flipper or a landlord? So that keeps it nice and organized. You can, just show the buyers compatible with your property details. If you put it in there, you can search for a buyer. If you click on these buyers too, you can add or subtract locations as you're on the phone with them. So it keeps a really robust buyers list in here. You can make them a VIP for you. It gives you your phone number, email, their LLC, what kind of properties they buy, will they buy certain criteria with pools, without, septic or well, HOA, any age, any criteria you can put in there. You can put notes in here for this buyer. So it keeps a legitimate buyers list for you. That's really, really, really easy to use, which is super cool, especially for people that don't even have a CRM yet. Man, keep your buyers list in here. If you go to My Deals, this is now going to show you, it's going to keep organized all the deals that you use Investorbase for. Okay. Searching for a buyer, those are going to be the deals for us that my dispo assistant is pulling the data for us. We're going on to our CRM and texting and calling it and, trying to find a buyer for it. And then buyers found is all the deals that we're actively marketing, and we have found some buyers for it. We're getting some offers put in. Like this is kind of our dispo bucket. Okay. So if you look at a CRM, like this would be like new contract. We got to pull the data. Buyers found, we've already pulled the data. Now we're working through it. We're trying to dispo it. And then our assigned deals are already under contract with an assignment contract. And, we've already had the walkthroughs, already got the offers in. And then when they close, you can keep track of your closed deals here and see how many you actually have moved using the platform. And it looks like, out of, 30 something deals we've moved this year, 8 of them, maybe 7 of them, have been closed off of Investorbase. And that's because we've only been using this platform for 2.5, 3 months, and it's August. So, really 7 out of probably 15 deals, we've actually moved and found our buyers on Investorbase. So it's been a really, really good platform. Here's something I love is the My Listings. Okay. So for those of you that maybe don't have a website yet and you're having trouble, looking professional and having that validation for maybe some of your buyers. Maybe you're a one-man show. You're doing this from home. You don't have an office. You don't have a team. You don't have a website. You're locking stuff up in your name still, and maybe not even an LLC. You can actually create a listing for your deal. You can keep track of, your offers, your views, and your visitors on there as well. Now, I just made this listing and we haven't even sent the link out or anything. So it's just for educational purposes. So nobody's going to be looking at it yet. But really cool because you can see the activity straight from this screen. And then you can, view your listing. You can edit it. You can do whatever you want from here. And this gives you, your investors ton of information. It gives you the pictures up top. They can make an offer. They can get financing through the website. It'll show the details of the property, the ARV, which you input, the monthly rent, which you input, and then the component insights. Is the plumbing good? Cosmetic quality is good. Roof's in good condition. It doesn't have an HVAC. So we left that blank. It shows the property on a map. And then you can just make a nice little listing in here about the deal. We talk about it's a 2-1 each side duplex, cash flowing asset, can pay you forever. Burr it or use cash and get a great return on your money. And then we put the transaction details in there, all the property conditions, and then we put some comparables in there as well. So your investors know, hey, this is a good deal. And then the next steps is just going to be to contact us, schedule a walkthrough, make an offer directly on this page, submit your proof of funds, and sign the assignment contract, and you can have this property. It has your picture here, your name, your company. If you click view contact, it's going to show your contact. You can view all the listings as well. So really super clean listing for your property, especially if you don't have a website or anything. If you go back to, or right here, if you go to this share button, you can now just copy this link and you can send this out to all your buyers or anybody you're on the phone with, even if you're calling through, your buyer's search, you can copy that link and you can shoot, all these buyers a text with this listing, and now they have all the information they need. So, whether you're a one-man band, don't even have a CRM, don't have a website, don't even have an LLC yet, what a great platform, great deal. I'm not even going to lie and tell you I know how much it is a month because I can't remember, but I do know you get a free trial if you click the link in my description. But hopefully this was informative for you guys on a platform that maybe some of you have heard of and thought about getting, and maybe some of you haven't even heard of it yet, because I've been hearing about it for a year, and I'm so glad I finally got it for my team and my company, because it has been an absolute game changer for our process. If you guys like this video and you like this platform, definitely click the link in the description for a free trial, and like and comment. If you guys have used Investorbase in the past or currently using it, never heard of it, let me hear in the comments what you think, and if you're going to be using it, or if you have, or if you hate it, and give me a reason why you hate it, because I have not found one reason to not like this platform.